All right, I do blame Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle, stain of humanity. Yes, Meghan, and I hope you're watching right now. I hope you're watching, Meghan, because you are the stain of humanity.
I don't think that she'll ever let Harry go, because she is so fixated on having a title that she doesn't even have or deserve anymore, right? Yeah. Technically, she's not part of the royal family. On paper, on the website, Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and I think that's her biggest. That's anybody's biggest mistake in their entire life, to screw that up.
It's December 2025. The holidays are in full swing, lights everywhere, feel-good messages flooding social media. Meghan Markle is settled in Montecito, filming her glossy Netflix lifestyle series, posting carefully crafted notes about compassion, kindness, and family values like clockwork. But on the other side of the world, in the Philippines, a very different story is unfolding. Her 81-year-old father has just undergone an emergency leg amputation and is fighting for his life in intensive care. Doctors, machines, uncertainty everywhere. And Meghan? She didn't rush to his side. She didn't call him directly.
Prince Harry wanted to make amends and come meet my dad. Wow, that's just crazy. I'll tell you right now, Prince Harry, if it has to do with anything with the Netflix crew and cameras, don't even bother. My dad's had enough crap from bogus PR stunts to last him for the rest of his life.
Instead, communication came through representatives cold and distant, turning a medical crisis into something that looked more like a situation to manage than a father to comfort. That alone raised eyebrows. But then things took a sharp turn into dangerous territory. Enter Thomas Markle Jr., the same brother who warned Prince Harry back in 2018 not to marry Meghan. The same man who publicly called her phony and a bully years before the world even knew what was coming. Now he's reportedly writing a tell-all book, and sources close to the project say this isn't just about sibling tension or family hurt feelings. According to whispers around the publishing world, Thomas Jr. is ready to expose the one chapter Meghan has never fully explained. Those mysterious years before Suits, when she was allegedly living a luxury lifestyle that didn't match her bank account. Word on the street is this book dives into her pre-Hollywood rise, including documented appearances on luxury yachts in Monaco. Photos exist. Invitations to exclusive yacht parties were circulated. Wealthy older men reportedly surrounded her during that time. Yet Meghan has never publicly explained who those men were, how she gained access to those circles, or how that lifestyle was being supported while she was still a struggling actress in Los Angeles. And here's what makes this situation explosive. Thomas Jr. wasn't watching from afar. He was actually around during those years, living nearby, seeing things firsthand. And now, after years of silence, he may finally be ready to answer the questions Meghan has carefully sidestepped for over a decade. Whether you believe these yacht allegations or think this is a family feud boiling over, one thing is clear. The timing couldn't be worse. A book threatening to shatter her carefully polished image, surfacing right as her father lies critically ill and she refuses to visit him. That contrast alone is enough to make people question everything. It raises a serious question. Has Thomas Jr. finally reached his breaking point after years of protecting secrets that were never his to carry? And before anyone dismisses him as bitter or attention-seeking, there's history that matters here. Back in 2018, just before the royal wedding, Thomas Jr. wrote an open letter to Prince Harry that went viral worldwide. He didn't sugarcoat a single word. He warned Harry directly, saying he believed Meghan would ruin your life. He described her as shallow, phony, a bully, and emotionally manipulative. He even begged Harry to walk away before it was too late. At the time, many laughed it off. Harry ignored the warning and married Meghan anyway. And what followed? A complete family collapse.
Do you sense that maybe trouble may lay ahead?
I've always thought that. Honestly, I've always thought that because, not that I want to bring up the fact that I wrote that letter, but I wrote that letter a long time ago in hindsight of her.
A public fallout with Prince William and Kate. A permanent exit from royal duties. Endless media battles. Burned bridges everywhere they went. Thomas Jr. called it before it happened. Every single part of it. So now, when this same person who accurately predicted the chaos years in advance announces a book that may expose Meghan's unexplained past, people are paying attention. He's not a random online critic. He's someone who grew up with her, observed her behavior for decades, and saw patterns others missed. And here's another detail that matters. In that 2018 letter, Thomas Jr. didn't rely on vague insults. He used the word phony repeatedly. That's not a casual accusation. That suggests years of watching someone carefully craft an image that didn't always match reality. That's the kind of insider perspective that could make this upcoming book deeply uncomfortable for Meghan.
So, Neil Sean put out a video yesterday or the day before saying that Meghan and Harry are on the rocks. Well, I think I called that quite a bit ago. And, Prince Harry, I told you it was coming. Anyway, the video said that...
Do you sense that maybe trouble may lay ahead?
I've always thought that. Honestly, I've always thought that because, not that I want to bring up the fact that I wrote that letter, but I wrote that letter a long time ago in hindsight of her saying something about me.
Now let's talk about the evidence that's been floating around quietly for years. This isn't internet rumor or wild speculation. We're talking about photos, invitations, and documented social connections that raise legitimate questions. Between 2004, when Meghan graduated from Northwestern, and 2011, when she landed her role on Suits, her acting work was limited. Small TV appearances, briefcase model on Deal or No Deal, short roles on shows like CSI and General Hospital. She has openly described this period herself as financially difficult, bouncing between auditions, barely scraping by in Los Angeles. Yet during that same window, images surfaced showing luxury trips, exclusive parties, and access that didn't align with a struggling actress narrative. And that unanswered gap? That's exactly where Thomas Jr.'s book is reportedly headed. But here's where the official story starts to fall apart fast. There are photos, real ones, documented images from those exact years showing Meghan on luxury yachts in the Mediterranean, attending elite parties in Monaco, surrounded by wealthy older men whose identities are never mentioned in her public narrative. These weren't random snapshots or blurry party pics. Author Kirby Summers documented that Meghan was invited to Yacht Week in Croatia, a highly exclusive event tied to elite social circles. This wasn't a casual beach hangout or a birthday cruise with friends. GQ magazine didn't mince words when describing this scene. They famously called it Sodom and Gomorrah at sea, a high-end, anything-goes environment where wealthy insiders network, socialize, and build powerful connections far away from public view. So here's the question that keeps coming up. How does a struggling actress afford repeated trips to Europe? Who were the wealthy men appearing beside her in those photos? And most importantly, who was paying for access to Monaco yachts, private parties, and elite gatherings? Because here's what people familiar with yacht culture already know. In elite social circles, it's well documented that attractive young women are invited aboard billionaire-owned yachts for networking, social companionship, and access to exclusive environments. These gatherings aren't just about fun, they're about connections.
Number one, no more lying. Number two,
call your father already. And number 3, you're no better than anybody else at all. Guaranteed. And number 4, I paved the way for you to do the right thing on Big Brother.
I got approached by a guy named Jeff Rayner, who spoke to me and said, I can change your image, he said. The idea was that these would all be candid shots, discreet, no one would know they were posed or anything. It would be just me doing my routine daily. I was feeling that this was very hokey and hammy.
The introductions made at these events can open doors that traditional auditions never will. Travel, luxury access, introductions to producers, executives, and powerful insiders. That kind of lifestyle doesn't usually align with someone openly describing herself as barely scraping by in Los Angeles. And here's where the timeline raises even more questions. Meghan's professional breakthrough didn't come from grinding auditions alone. It came through elite connections. She met her first husband, Trevor Engelson, a producer with industry ties. She gained access to Soho House, the ultra-exclusive members-only club known for hosting royals, billionaires, and entertainment power players. She became close with Marcus Anderson, a senior Soho House executive connected to some of the most influential people on the planet. Those relationships mattered. That's how Suits entered the picture. That's how she moved within elite social circles. And yes, that's how she eventually crossed paths with Prince Harry. These weren't random encounters. They were the result of curated environments built on access. So the question keeps circling back. How did a struggling actress gain entry to spaces most people with money still can't access? Something else had to be facilitating those connections. And if anyone would have seen that up close, it would be someone who grew up with her. Here's what people underestimate about siblings. When you grow up with someone, even a half-sibling like Thomas Jr., you know things outsiders never will. You see who they're really dating. You notice when money appears that doesn't line up with the job they claim to have. You overhear phone calls. You meet people your parents never hear about. Thomas Jr. is 58. Meghan is 44. According to multiple family sources, they spent significant time together growing up. This wasn't a distant relationship built around holidays and occasional check-ins. He watched her personality develop. He saw how she navigated social situations. He noticed patterns forming over years, not months.
I hope people spit in your face when they see you walking down the street. I hope, they throw human feces at you because of how you really are as a person inside.
And look, I know there's a lot of rhetoric and some people won't enjoy that.
Now, sources close to his book project, and to be clear, these are individuals claiming knowledge of his plans, say Thomas Jr. is prepared to address specifics, specific relationships, specific events, moments from Meghan's past that she's reportedly worked very hard to keep private. One insider allegedly told a correspondent that Thomas Jr. holds information about Meghan's pre-fame years that directly contradicts the public narrative she's been promoting. That claim can't be independently verified, but what can be verified is this. Thomas Jr. publicly announced his book in May 2025. He stated clearly that he intends to refute Meghan's accounts and correct what he called nonsensical stories. That language isn't soft. That isn't family nostalgia. That's the tone of someone who believes he holds facts that clash with the official version of events. And the timing makes it even louder. He made this announcement right as Meghan launched her Netflix series, positioning herself as authentic, grounded, and family-oriented. He openly criticized the project and decided to write a book that challenges the entire image she's presenting. That's not coincidence. That's a direct collision between two very different versions of the same story. That alone suggests Thomas Jr. may be holding memories or information that don't line up with the image Meghan presents today.
I don't care. I mean, at this point, they owe me. the royals own me. My daughter told me that when I reach my senior years, she'll take care of me. I'm in my senior years now. I'm 75 years old. So it's time to look after Daddy.
Brothers and sisters, especially those who watched each other navigate early adulthood, remember things clearly. Even when public narratives shift, family remembers who was really funding the lifestyle, which relationships were genuine, and which ones felt transactional. They remember the private conversations, the late-night phone calls, the explanations given behind closed doors. That's why family tell-alls hit harder than any tabloid story. A sibling's memory can't be erased, edited, or cleaned up by a PR team. If they decide to speak, that information becomes public fast, and there's no real way to stop it. Now let's look at what's happening right now that could be pushing Thomas Jr. toward revealing whatever he's been sitting on for years. On December 3rd, Thomas Markle Sr. underwent emergency surgery to amputate his left leg. Doctors said a blood clot cut off circulation completely. His leg turned black and blue. This wasn't routine surgery, it was life or death. The operation reportedly lasted 3 hours, removing his foot and lower leg to stop the spread of infection. Thomas Jr., who lives with his father in the Philippines and acts as his primary caregiver, told reporters there was no alternative. The next 2 to 3 days were critical, with doctors worried about sepsis or gangrene. Their father is 81 years old. He has already survived 2 heart attacks and a stroke. This amputation is a serious, life-altering event. And Meghan's response? Days of silence. Then, communication sent through representatives. No publicly reported phone call, no visit. Everything handled through intermediaries from California. Now put yourself in Thomas Jr.'s position. You're physically there. You're watching your father fight for his life. You're the one handling doctors, hospitals, fear, and uncertainty. Meanwhile, your sister, who has immense resources and flexibility, stays thousands of miles away and manages the situation from a distance. That kind of moment changes how people see family loyalty. It reshapes priorities fast. Why keep protecting someone's private history when they won't show up during a medical emergency? One source claims Thomas Jr. feels he has nothing left to lose. The family estrangement is complete, and he's questioning why he should continue shielding information about Meghan's past. That's the mindset of someone who may be done staying quiet. And when someone with first-hand knowledge decides silence no longer serves them, that's when long-buried details have the potential to surface. Here's another part that keeps people talking. Meghan has never directly addressed the yacht-related questions or the broader curiosity surrounding her pre-suits lifestyle.
By the way, I put the olive branch out there, so now it's up to you, and you better talk it over with Harry, but whatever. Meghan, time is of the essence here.
Those photos showing luxury boats and wealthy companions were never publicly explained. The identities of those men were never clarified. The nature of those relationships was never discussed. The Yacht Week invitation was never acknowledged or denied publicly. The funding behind her European travel during those years was never clarified either. Now, some will argue she doesn't owe anyone an explanation about her private past. That's fair. But here's why the silence stands out. When public figures face claims they believe are false, they usually shut them down directly. A simple explanation, a brief clarification, context that closes the door on speculation. That never happened here. Instead, there's been consistent silence, no statement, no clarification, no denial. And when questions linger without explanation, people naturally start wondering why. Is it because addressing it would raise even more questions? Is it because the full context doesn't fit the image she's carefully built over the years? Another detail that keeps coming up is how little public information exists about her life between 2004 and 2011. That 7-year window remains largely vague, despite being a critical period in her personal and professional development. And when timelines stay blurry, unanswered questions don't fade. They grow louder. Try digging into that time period yourself. Surprisingly, little exists publicly. Social media from those years is scarce. Certain posts, photos, and timelines just aren't there. It's almost like that chapter of her life sits inside a documentary blind spot, a gap that never gets filled in with the same detail as the rest of her story. And when information is missing like that, people get curious, very curious. If Thomas Jr. holds memories or details from those years that fill in those blanks, that alone could answer questions people have quietly asked for over a decade. Based on what sources are suggesting and what logically makes sense given Thomas Jr.'s proximity to Meghan during that time, here are the 3 biggest questions this book could address first. Number 1. Who were the wealthy men supporting Meghan's lifestyle before Suits? We're talking about individuals who gave a struggling actress access to luxury yachts, European travel, and elite social circles. If Thomas Jr. can identify even a few of those connections and explain the nature of those relationships, it would finally provide context for how she transitioned from a broke actress to a global social figure. Second, how did Meghan really land her role on Suits? The official story says traditional auditions and casting, but industry chatter has long suggested the opportunity came through connections rather than standard channels. If Thomas Jr. witnessed how those relationships actually worked, if he knows which introductions led to which doors opening, that information would matter. Third, what was the true nature of Meghan's involvement in elite social circles during those years? Was it innocent networking? Was it strategic relationship building? Were there expectations attached to the access she received? These are questions that have circulated quietly for years and have never been directly addressed. Now, let's talk about what's at stake for Meghan. If information from her pre-Suits years becomes public, it directly impacts her current brand. Right now, she's positioned as compassionate, humanitarian, authentic, family-focused, and resilient. She's launching products, producing Netflix content, and presenting herself as someone people should trust, admire, and learn from. If new information suggests her rise involved connections and networking that don't align with the struggling actress narrative, that creates credibility issues.
If you look at the relationship overall, in my opinion, allegedly, of course, we have to say that word after a sentence, but
of course.
In the beginning, look at her demeanor in the beginning. She was so humbled, right?
Yep.
So appreciative to be in the position where she was at, and not overstepping her boundaries.
Too expensive. She can't get a pass. Yes, and they won't pay for her, so it's much too expensive. Her excuse is...
Brands that partnered with her based on authenticity could start asking questions. Public trust becomes harder to maintain when the backstory feels incomplete. That feel-good Netflix messaging about genuine living and values hits differently if major parts of her own life story contain gaps or contradictions. And Harry, who defended her fiercely against criticism from both his family and the press, would face uncomfortable questions about how much he knew when he married her. That's why those years remain guarded. That's why the yacht questions never get addressed directly, because once details become public, they either confirm a simple explanation or reveal something far more complicated than the official image. So, here's where things stand as December 2025 moves forward. Thomas Markle Sr. is recovering from a serious leg amputation, facing major health challenges at 81. Thomas Jr. is providing hands-on care while reportedly working on a book that could address Meghan's past. Meghan remains in California, managing her father's health situation through intermediaries while launching her lifestyle brand. Whether Thomas Jr. includes revelations about those years depends on several things. Does he have verifiable details or only personal observations? Will publishers take on the legal risk of printing specific claims? Will Meghan's team attempt behind-the-scenes negotiations to keep certain information private? But one thing stands out clearly. Thomas Jr. was right in 2018 when he warned Harry about Meghan's character. His predictions about family conflict and long-term fallout came true. So when that same person announces a book that may address her mysterious pre-suits years, right as family estrangement reaches a breaking point, it suggests something serious could be coming. Meghan managing her father's health crisis from California while her brother prepares to publish his account of the past has to be unsettling. Because once someone who was actually there decides to speak, the questions about her rise from struggling actress to duchess become much harder to dismiss. The real issue isn't whether Meghan has parts of her past she prefers to keep private. Everyone does. The real question is whether Thomas Jr. decides those private details matter to the public narrative, and whether he chooses to make them public through his book. And if he does, the conversation around Meghan could change fast. If you want to stay updated as this story develops, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because if that book drops, you won't want to miss what comes next.